Hey everybody, my name is Yule. Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. It's freaking cold.
Look, this is just an informal chat. We were wondering what you were working on in your lab.
Well, I've invented a pill that gives worms to ex-girlfriends.
Right, and what's positive about that?
Well, it's a pill that gives worms to ex-girlfriends.
Well, could it also give worms to ex-boyfriends?
This is a drug for the world to give worms to ex-girlfriends.
Well, great. Thanks for stopping by.
You just don't get it here.
You seem like you're a fucking great comic shop owner, Yule.
I
I'd love to come out and see you sometime.
That's brilliant, man. I wish I would have hung out with you, Yule, in the day.
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. For everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and dances full of pep. We're gonna start with high chops. Just watch this chorus steps.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. This is we're going to say our 52nd episode, Redux. Yeah, Spanky, that's right. How y'all doing? It's really cold outside. I don't know if any of you are experiencing this winter weather like we are up here in Northern California. I went to the restroom and I think I saw some ice cubes when I was done. It was crazy. In fact, the worst thing happened to me. It's not the worst thing, but it's cold and I could probably cut some glass right now. And I misstepped and I hit the door frame as I was walking out of a room and it grazed ever so gently across my nipple. I swear I thought I might have it might be bleeding. I didn't know if I was going to make it. That was just before the show. And I went out afterwards to go get some, alcohol because it's so cold and I want to give myself some courage to talk to the masses out there. And I was observing the sign as I was leaving that I should pull the door, but I had gone to push the door, so I didn't give myself proper clearance. I dragged right across that same nipple outside. Oh, it hurt. It was horrible. Not fun at all. I can't start the show without asking you all.
Sup?
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 Hello.
What's up?
So we have a Redux episode because if you did not view us while we were live, it was taken down. This is entitled, I thought I did it on this. It must just be on the YouTube channel. 52.ASM, which would be a silent movie, because I don't know who was my guest host, if you will, my co-host for the show. I don't remember what his name was, but he was playing silent movie from a camera on a phone. Many different. We didn't think we'd get in trouble. Plus, there was no sound, and oh my gosh, there we are. We have our episode taken down. My buddy Boogie, who is on the Wrestling Council with me over at the Talkin' Balls Network, was making fun of me on Twitter behind the scenes, not so that just anybody could see it, but he was making fun of me that that's the reason why we don't run things like Spanky at the beginning of the show or during my show, because I don't want to get clipped and taking it off. But of course, Boogie on the Talkin' Balls Network, I think they just got their 6,000th subscriber, so I think I'm probably responsible for like 5 of those people. So before the show before we started, Fantinuum was there to say hi. Hey, how's it going, Fantinuum? See you tomorrow. All sorts of cool DC books. I'll show you some pictures later. Jilby Pill, she's just in the other room. And Diablo Hashcraft is here. You're also early for you, or at least to say hi. Christine, hey, how's it going? I don't know if you watched last week's show, but this is as good a time as any. I gotta do this. Did you see that? And then I just gotta find it. I have so many images. I put that. So this is a good time to like shill. For those of you that don't know, my name is Yule. I own Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. We're at 1708A MLK Jr. Way. We are right next to the internet provider. We are a neighborhood. We're for real a friendly neighborhood comic book store in the heart of in the heart of downtown Berkeley. Well, not in the heart, I guess. If it's a neighborhood, it's a better heart. It's where it really beats, instead of like those carotid arteries. Christine here made this mask, and if you contact her, she might make some for you. She does other things, but I don't know all about that. But I sure she'll talk to you about it if you're interested. So let's shill for the store, since we're doing this right now. Put that down there. And let's say hi. It's called a Jill pill. All right, let's see. Yes, it is freezing. I agree. My goodness. Brain Candy is a wonderful movie by the kids in the hall. And I think, especially with as quickly as we're getting vaccines right now, and it's not even just the main companies that are out there, but there are a ton of companies out there trying to create vaccines for this coronavirus. And, some aren't, some are like, oh, well, we tested and it's like 50% effective. I think I'll stay away from that. I'll just wear a mask. And thanks to Christine, I can, because she made that for me. She made one for my brother, and I wear it. Well, I shouldn't say all the time. Every other day, something like that. Yeah, watch Brain Candy. It's really hilarious. It's all about the pharmaceutical industry and how you see the creation of a pill or a drug and how it, gets made and passed and approved and why, and all the ramifications in a very hilarious way. And then let's see here. You opening up soon? Yes, not today though. I mean, not right this second. We'll be open tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We'll have brand new comic books. Today we had new DC comics on Tuesday. That's when they come out. And yeah, we'll close at 5 o'clock. So we keep pretty early hours. I don't know what cold is. Well, I understand. It's all relative, of course. I actually had somebody from Chicago come in one time and say, oh, it's so cold over here. But I always thought, Chicago was supposed to be the, one of those horrible places in the winter, having not gone. And I won't, especially not for the winter. Welcome, everybody. This is a show about the comic book industry. Well, from a comic store point of view, and again, in a real small shop in Berkeley. We used to have a very large shop, as you could see from the video. We are a store that actually has a theme song, which is cool. I can't get flagged for that, YouTube. And yeah, I have to actually turn on the camera for a little bit, so I'm sorry about that. I think I like it better off when it's just myself. When it's with other people, I like to have it on so you can see my lips, or so actually the other people can see my lips so they know I'm done, or I can see them and know when they're done. I have a little feature that I wanted to bring up. Let me just see. Here it is. All right. That's the reason why you have to see me. I perform a service called pressing. I guess it's been around for a while, but it's been pretty popular late, or maybe popularized lately on because of YouTube, seeing other people do it. Maybe you've heard about it, but never, wasn't able to get any information on it. Well, it's all out there, and you can find all sorts of, good resources when it comes to that. So you can do it yourself, but of course, it's time consuming, and it's not something everybody's going to want to do. It's kind of scary touching comics and putting them over water. That's warping the covers, and then you press them out under a heat and pressing. And I don't want to screw up my comics, or maybe, you do. But, you can go to our Instagram page, but you're not going to need to, because I'm going to share this right here. And we don't need that. And on this post on Instagram at Fantastic Comics, I came across this bag and board situation. And when I took the comic off of the board, or out of the bag, this is what the board looked like. And you don't want your comics hanging out with boards like that. So I do highly recommend you change them. Maybe every year, like it's supposed to be done. But, I'm got a large collection. A lot of people have a large collection. A lot of people don't care as much. But I would suggest every 5, definitely every 10 years, because this can happen to anybody. Definitely if you don't have the right kind of board. But even worse than that, and then this is where me coming in. Let me stop sharing that. This is why you need to see me. So, and this isn't necessarily the people I'm pressing their comic. I am pressing their comics, but they didn't necessarily do this. They could have purchased it from somebody, or it's just something that happened. But tape your comics shut. You have your comic book bag and board. It's the comic book right here. Tape it, or don't do it, or whatever. If you have to fold it in over here where the board is, not in between the board and the comic book. And I'm going to show you again why right now. Sharing screen, because this is what happens to the comic book when it has been stuck in this bag and board situation for very many years. Probably this is an older comic book, and you can see over on the other side it's a little lighter also. So this is one of the comic books I'm pressing. It is going well for that one. But don't do that. That's not what you want to do when protecting your comic books. So that's their first feature. Comic book preserving your comics, do's and don'ts. There might never be another segment, but this is the one that came across, and I want to let you know. It's also a good way to find out what we're doing in the store, or what we think is worthwhile, by checking out our Instagram. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this. And let me show you what we're going to be talking about today. Oh my God, did it not? Stupid. Let me do it this way. Stupid, you all. All right, there it is. R.I.P. right off the board, or right off the bat. R.I.P. Hank Aaron. We've lost a bunch of greats in baseball, and this is probably one of the greatest. So, top. I mean, in home runs alone, you're talking like, top 3, and then, all the other accolades and things that he did, he's probably top 10 for sure. I mean, if not top 5. I mean, there's a lot of great players, but Henry Aaron. And then after that, a big Dodger fan, Larry King, died. I wasn't that enthralled with him, and his stories of Sandy Koufax really seemed like he was trying hard, but we have to pay attention to that. Even though he's had comic book people on, wrestlers, all sorts of things in my life. I've had to see Larry King that, he's interviewed people. So that's a shame. All right, let's done with that. Whew. And then what else we got here? All right, oh yeah, the storm is coming. Oh my God, it's gonna rain and rain and rain. I think so. It already is raining. If we were to, maybe go out, that's what we'll blame anything that happens. We're gonna blame it on the storm. So if we go off air for any reason, I'm blaming the storm. Oh man. All right, let's see here. Is Gizmo around? Gizmo's always around, dude. He's walking up, and so Gizmo's a big fan of biting himself all the time, all over the place. And my brother, and it gets to the point where he's actually like, he bites his feet, and he has like no hair in certain spots, so he's like really biting himself raw, and it's getting annoying. And it's also sad and scary because it gets like all the red up. So I have this ointment that I've been putting on him so that he won't go to town like he does. And I didn't do it today. And I caught him, chewing on himself. I'm like, stop it. So I just put ointment on, and he can't settle down. He has to like walk around, and he's, there you go. He's pacing by the door. Hell, it's hilarious. Hey, Flash Ray Videos. How's it going, man? I'm going to take a drink. Hold on a sec. Didn't know who you were talking. Oh, Gizmo. Yeah, it's definitely Gizmo. Here you go. For people that don't know who Gizmo is, let me show you his video. Yeah, that's his antics right there. All right, Mike, let's see what you say. I put 3 board per comic. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. I hope you don't have too many comics. My 12,000 comics that way? Holy cow. And you rotate them out every couple years? I hope you have friends over. Big old party. We used to do that when we were kids, and a lot of that bagging and boarding was just going through people's comics. Oh, it's not that bad, Christine. Gizmo's just, he probably needs some doggy Prozac or something like that. That's what I think. He should get some animal shrink to give him some Prozac so he can like mellow out just a little bit. All right. I guess we should talk about comic books. That's usually what we do here. If I don't have anybody else to bounce any crazy ideas off of, then it's always just comic books. So I'm going to show you some stuff that's coming out tomorrow. I'll show you a mix of things that came out today, because again, on Tuesdays is when DC comic books come out, and then Wednesdays is when anything from Diamond comes out. So to begin with, we have Aquaman. I gotta admit, I did not read that. I am not the biggest Aquaman fan, and the guy who's Aquaman isn't even in this one. So, like a lot of people, I passed on it. Next up, there's Batman Superman. Oh, well, they just came out today, so I shouldn't be slamming on it yet. Maybe tomorrow, if there's not too much rain. Next up, we have Batman Superman, number 1, Fantium. Pay attention, Ben Oliver is doing the art inside, and I'm sure a lot of people will, pick this up. Next up, we have Dark Detective number 2. This is the Mariko Tamaki Future State comic book. I think it has a different artist. Although, no, Dan Mora is doing it. So, yeah, I think it's still... And I do believe the backup is a Grifter storyline. And I'm a big Grifter fan. So that's cool. The first issue was all right. And it looked good. It looked really good. Also, this is like the only future... Well, and I guess that's not true. So, Future State is the main titles that are going on for DC for the month of January and February. But there are also miniseries that are going on. You're going to see a couple of them coming up. We have Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn. A lot of people have been enjoying this. Sean Gordon Murphy and his wife, or maybe mostly his wife and Sean Gordon Murphy, write this, and it's drawn by Matteo Scalera. So it looks really good. We have the Batman Black and White miniseries. This is an anthology with a bunch of people doing Batman in black and white. That's a jock cover. I don't know who the person's name is, but that's their cover. That one looks pretty sweet too. So all in black and white. Next up, we have Legion of Superheroes, written by the Legion of Superheroes writer previously, Brian Michael Bendis. Stay tuned. We will be talking about him in just a moment. And Suicide Squad came out. This is, oh, you know what? It was pretty interesting. It's a bunch of, if you read Marvel when Bendis was really popular and Dark Reign was going on, there was a Dark Avengers team, and in it were all the evil people portraying the Avengers. So it's not really portraying the Avengers. They were under control by Norman Osborn, if I'm not mistaken. Well, that was Hammer. Yeah, I think it was during that time. So this was his team of Avengers, and these Avengers were like, instead of Wolverine, it's Daken, and he's a bastard. I think in both ways. And then there was like Hawkeye, and it wasn't Hawkeye, it was Hawkeye's brother, Billy. I can't remember. Tell me, Moby. I'm sure you do. You know. And so this is what this is kind of like. So that Superman all the way back there, that's Connor Kent, I do believe. And then there's a whole bunch of other people. And we had Superman versus Imperious Lex. I did not read that yet. It has Steve Pugh doing the artwork, and Mark Russell is writing it. So I'm inclined to want to read it, and I will. Tomorrow, Daredevil 26 finally comes out. It's part of the King in Black story, but also don't forget Daredevil is in prison, and there's another person that's, Daredevil that's out there. And I'm not going to spoil it for you because that was at the end of last issue. Dune number 4 comes out. It's Dune. I'm sure you're hot for the movie. Everybody is, right? Loud is Black Mask's original graphic novel, I do believe, by Maria Lovett. And Maria Lovett does really porny stuff as far as a company will allow you to. So I think she's done stuff for Image and maybe it's only Image. No, I can't remember what other companies, but maybe like Dark Horse or something. So it doesn't get like too, I mean, it's pretty steamy for comic books, that aren't porn only. And she has a really nice style. Post Americana is written and drawn by Steve Scroce. And he's fantastic. And this is like an uber violent comic that I sold out of the first issue. And if you don't want to miss it, you better come in early or call me or email. Email. Yeah, it works. Oh, on the subject of email, eventually we will have an online store up and running. We're working on it right now, but it's just me and my brother. So along with all the other junk that we're doing, that's in the cards. So maybe by the time the trade comes out, you can order Post Americana that way. Strange Academy number 7. Humberto Ramos is the artist. Scotty Young's the writer. And this series is pretty hot. A lot of people are speculating on a lot of the first issues. And it's a really solid, fun story with the younger characters in the Marvel Universe that are magic related. And the art is fantastic. I don't usually talk about Vampirella. This is a mini-series called The Dark Powers. And within the Dynamite universe, there's a whole bunch of different like superhero teams and worlds and things like that. And she's recruited to help them, these super-powered people, and help them in like some mission. And she does not get along well with others. And it's pretty hilarious. I thought the art was pretty cool. And Peter Davison, I do believe, is the writer. And it's a different book than just the cover. So I thought it was pretty cool. So that number 2 comes out. X-Men number 17. Every new thing that happens with Hickman's X-Men makes me think about the rumor that he was going to be writing Legion of Superheroes for DC. And because of Bendis going over there and doing Superman and eventually doing Legion, Hickman came over to X-Men and basically took the story that he was going to use for Legion and he's using it for X-Men. So much so that they are going to actually have us as fans voting on who is going to make up one of the X-Men teams. I can't quite remember what the specifics of that are, but it was in issue number 16, and I still have some of those. So if you're interested in that type of thing, come in and get this book. It is my bestseller, hopefully until Beta Ray Bill comes out, right? And We Only Find Them When They're Dead, number 5. I am finally getting caught up with this series, but I only read the second issue so far. I have 3 and 4 right next to me. So hopefully, well, there's a lot of other stuff, but I hope to at least read the third issue so that I'm not so far behind. The second issue did this thing where they were bouncing back and forth between 1 year where something happened, which led to what's going on right now. And it got a little confusing. And the art, although really nice, this cover is very, minus the words the way they are, is very emblematic, I guess, of how it looks inside. Is very much like how it looks inside. But as beautiful as you might think this looks, it is hard to distinguish sometimes what people are or who they are because it's just a lot of color. But it's pretty good. And I recommend checking this out. I usually sell out anyway, so when the book comes out, you'll definitely want to check it out. And here's another thing that came out today, DC related. This is Wonder Woman in the 50s book. So if you're interested in any old Wonder Woman stories, you should definitely check this out. I just did one page right here so that you can see it. It's Wonder Woman Romance Editor. Steve Trevor. Wonder Woman, so far you've answered every request for help from despairing sweethearts. Now I appeal to you to solve my problem by consenting to marry me. And she's all, oh, Steve. Pretty funny. Here's something funny. Justice League International, at least most of it, because the Giffen, DeMatteis, Kevin McGuire Justice League is some of the funniest, most most excellent Justice League stories ever. I remember old timers really hating this because there was so much humor. Batman shouldn't be in a book where all this goofiness is going on. No superheroing. Usually people just standing around talking. Actually, that's not true. There's a lot of talking, but they're not standing around. It still feels like a superhero book, but it's not heavy on action all the time. But this is fantastic. This is volume 2. And then I got this Superman Kryptonite Nevermore, which is all classic stories of Superman, pretty much all drawn by Kurt Swan. And I think it's all Kryptonite stories. So that came out. And if you're a Superman fan, you should check that out. All right. I said we were going to talk about Brian Michael Bendis. There he is. That guy, he can smile. Let me take a drink. My coffee's getting cold. I'm going to take another drink. Actually, let me play a commercial so that I can do something about this.
What are you wearing, kid? Greenhorn? What are you, blind or something? If you're going to dress like every other curtain jerker here in Chattanooga, jerking the curtain off the wall and wearing it, this plan's never going to work. You need to dress more like the swing man with style, class.
Wait. Is this the Image movie that's on YouTube? I would assume it would probably be Eric Larson if that's the case. I should check that one out. Oh, Gizmo needs pet CBD. Yeah, I used to do that for my other dog, Pochi, and he seemed to respond to that pretty well. But, it was like late in life stuff. So, but yeah. Let's see. Was it Bullseye as Hawkeye? That may be. Yes, maybe it was Bullseye. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I got this idea off his video on how to store, protect, and display your comics. All right. And then let's see here. We only find the one. Yeah, 30. It does. It is a pretty quick read. But I just have so many comics. It's just, if I was, and it's not just comics because, and I'll show you my favorite channels on YouTube to check out. One of them, well, actually a couple of them are ones I'm involved in. And one is like I said, I'll talk about it in a second. All right. Oh, Bendis, the guiltiest of pleasures. I don't know about pleasures, sir. Definitely at one time there was pleasure in reading Bendis. And I was pretty, like, my favorite ones that he did was Sam and Twitch for Spawn. It was a side, the police officers on Spawn. And that was really good. And Alias, when he came over to Marvel, that was like, holy cow, this is very close to, NC-17 adult. This is some very interesting stuff going on. And I kind of liked his portrayal of Cage. He's taking these characters that I thought had some really questionable representation. and he's taking them and he's like doing something with them, making them count and, you know, be important and having a voice. I mean, I guess they had a voice before, but it didn't sound so stereotypical, or maybe it's not stereotypical. Cliched. I don't know. I'm using the wrong one, but Bendis did a really good job. But then, you know, the more and more you see him write, the more it feels like he's just writing the same thing over and over again, and his characters didn't really diverge in really thought or even how they say things. Michael Bendis over. Yes, I am not a big fan of his. His Daredevil was excellent, and his Ultimate Spider-Man, well, if Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and Jazzy John Romita didn't do anything, would he even have any Spider-Man stories? Because he was basically just taking like all the years, including like the McFarlane years with Venom and stuff like that. And he was taking all that information and making one cohesive story that, you know, forced you to read from one all the way to the end. But is that really what we need in comic books? I don't necessarily care about Netflix shows. Well, I shouldn't say Netflix, but I mean, you know, streaming shows or even television. You know, you got your HBOs and your Showtime programs, and I just kind of like. Sometimes I like a sitcom. Sometimes I like a drama that's only a drama within that one episode, and I don't have to invest all that time in it. And Bendis definitely writes like those type of programs. You know, we were watching Hercule Poirot earlier. You know, it's not a season long. Somebody's hunting him down and he has to find him out, and you know, while all this others. They did that with Perry Mason. Holy cow. It was like the dumbest. Try not to curse. It was like the dumbest program. I'm like, I did not know we needed an origin story for Perry Mason. You know, it's just like, and that's what Bendis is like. And not only that, but there's the staccato of the way his characters speak to each other. I like to say it sounds like an episode of Gilmore Girls. But, you know, there's plenty of other programs you can choose. I'm sure it like dates back to some lawyer show, LA Law or something like that. But it really, the very fast speaking, almost like everything's sped up. And I could just, man, it gives me shit when I see Bendis's writing now, especially on his Legion of Superheroes, something that is fair, you know, pretty near and dear to me. And I know a lot of Legion fans are out there, and they have to take it on the chin quite a bit just for, you know, have anything to read. But when you see these pages that are just words hiding the art, it's ugh. I only ever read Avengers Bendis. There's some good Avengers stuff, you know, when they did the reveal of the Skrulls and the secret invasion. Holy cow, that was pretty sweet. I had never thought that could happen before. And yeah, Eric Larson is wearing, image. Yeah, we gotta watch that. Oh, timestamp 4921. Excellent. Oh, West Wing. Yes, definitely. West Wing. Just to piss off Jill when she was watching The Expanse. There was this scene, and I mean, maybe it was like, you know, most of the program, but there was a lot of walking and talking, and I'm like, God, this just feels like West Wing in space. Not a fan, and I'm really not a fan of Bendis anymore either. So it brings me much delight to know that he is no longer exclusive to DC. He had an exclusive contract with them. They ripped him away from Marvel at his lowest point, and they gave him a fat freaking contract. And They gave him a fat contract, and he was able to get a lot of, I mean, Bendis brings a lot of talent with him. You know, anywhere he goes, Alex Maleev goes, and anywhere, you know, Bendis goes, I can't think of all the different people that, you know, work with him. And then DC allowed him to have his Wonder line, which was, you know, younger characters that he helped create, like Teen Lantern and others, Ginny Hex. Then he also got to have his Jinx World series. So there were quite a few titles that he brought over previously from Icon, Marvel's independent, you know, creator-owned label. And then he also got Action and Superman, and there were creators that were on that prior to him. And I wouldn't say, like, in my store, it was the greatest seller, but those were strong sellers. And when Bendis came on, it didn't increase at all. The only thing that happened were different people read the books. So what I think is there are certain people that will read Superman. And there are certain people from the Marvel side of, you know, the room that read DC for actually the first time because Bendis came over to Superman. So, you know, that's a positive. But then there are those people that are like, oh, Bendis came over and I tried it out and I don't want to read Superman anymore. And so you lost a bunch of people that way. And, you know, there's a YouTube channel called Comics by Perch. And if you watch his analysis of runs of people had with comics, you can see how it sold. And Bendis is, you know, and you got to take into consideration that this guy is getting top dollar. You got to take into consideration that everybody he brings in with him is getting paid a lot of money. And when not only do their books not do very well, but the King S here is Bendis and his stuff isn't doing gangbusters. You know, still the top sellers this year or last year were Three Jokers, which is Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder with his death metal, you know, this year, and then prior to that, Justice League stuff. And, you know, and then everybody else. You know, Jeff Johns with Doomsday Clock, you know, these were the big, it took a long time to come out, but they were definitely worth it if you look at sales. And Bendis is no longer, you know, he's no longer going to be doing Superman. You know, there's already a new creative team come March. He's not going to be doing, I don't know if he's going to keep doing Legion, but now it looks like, you know, he can go anywhere and do, you know, work for anybody. So I expect to see probably that kind of stuff happen. Hopefully he has to, you know, care about what he's doing. Like maybe if he was doing an Image book, he, you know, unfettered, you know, he might put some more care and some love into it. But I'm sure, like, after so many years working with IPs, that, you know, the initial rush of working on Superman maybe, like, you know, maybe wears off faster than it did back in the early days when he's doing Ultimate Spider-Man. You know, I come over from Image. Now, actually, Image is giving, you know, potentially that would be something that would be positive for him. So I am interested to see what's going to happen. I don't hate Bendis, and he always seems like he's pretty cool. And he's done a lot of things that I've liked in the past. It just hasn't been anytime recently. So that's the Brian Michael Bendis conversation. It's like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. No, that's enough denigrating him. All right, welcome to the show. Read it, sell it, or bin it. Comment. You took All-Star Supermans? Oh, look at this. Oh, this is such a great book. Look at that. Wait, let me see your sleeve for a second, please. It's cold, huh? Hell. Let's see. Oh, Flash Rave. I watch Perch. Oh, and West Channels. I listen to them at work also. I usually turn them off when customers come in, though. Oh, look at that. Yeah, these are great. That's Lois Lane, right? As Superwoman, so to speak. In the first issue, we find out that Superman is dying from an overdose of radiation from the sun when he rescued a science team they had a mission on the sun, and Lex Luthor, screwed everything up, and so Superman has to go up, and as he's dying, because he's supercharged, he's also developing all these really super special powers. Also, he finally gets up the nerve to tell Lois Lane who he is. And here she is with I forget what he did. He distilled some sort of something and gave her, oh yeah, there you go. She drank the potion. And so they go out for issue 3 and 4 and do some superpower. And I think Thor's involved. And yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so read it, sell it, or bin it. Who's reading it, who's selling it, and who's binning it? What am I, and who's making this decision? People in chat? People in the comments after? Right now. Excellent. Sebastian O. More Grant Morrison. So if you want to hear all right, let me put that banner up. Hold on a second. We'll come back to this. We want to do this. These are my favorite channels in no particular order. But most importantly, right now, we're talking about Comics by Perch, because he had a premiere video that he put together where he and a guy named Joe Corolla, who does comic book work, interviewed Richard Case, who did the artwork on Doom Patrol for DC and Grant Morrison writing it. And most of the conversation was about that Doom Patrol series, and that was fantastic. And then yesterday he had Sean Gordon Murphy, and all they talked about was social media and how it's all screwed and stuff like that. Oh, beautiful. Animal Man. Who is that? The Rick Veitch issues? Brian Bolin does those covers, though. Jamie Delano, not a fan. Somebody was saying in that chat today that Jamie Delano, that they like him, but I personally am not a fan. Yeah, wow, that's a lot. Look at that. Where did you get those, dude? From me? I don't remember having that. All right, very good. Well, wow, that's a lot of Animal Mans. All right. Oh, well, we did have to take things over to your place, so maybe that's where they came from. All right. Let me just get to this again really quick. Oh yeah, so there's the things that I do. I've been on Thinking Critical recently. Sci-Fi and Fantasy Read Along is that YouTube channel that I do a podcast on. And there you go. And if you want to see me at all, here you go. This is if you need more Yule in your life. You can follow me at these different places, or on YouTube this Saturday, you can go to Critical Blast. And I'm one of the LCS guys that talks about how crummy the industry is for us comic book shop owners. I'm joking. It's not that bad. It's pretty fun being a comic book store owner. I get to see comic books all the time. And I get to talk to y'all about comic books. And I'm going to talk to you all right now about, well, I forgot to do a picture with without the words. Heroes Reborn. Heroes Reborn is going to start in May. And the concept of it is this. Pretend the Avengers never occurred. What would happen? And there's like all these amalgamations of Marvel characters. And like Doctor Doom and Juggernaut are going to be a character. And there's all this concept art that's by Carlos Pacheco. And it got me to thinking about Heroes Reborn and what it used to be. And what it used to be. So what happened was Marvel was so pathetic. They couldn't, the Image was killing them. DC was doing what they do, but Marvel was like just not doing well. And I think they might even been going through bankruptcy. And so they got it in their heads to allow 4 Image guys to take control of their characters. And so from the Extreme Studios, you had Rob Liefeld and boys doing Avengers. You had Jim Lee doing Fantastic Four. Well, let's say Jim Lee's studio ultimately. You had Iron Man by Will Spertasio. And you had Captain America by Jeff Loeb and Rob Liefeld. Now, this is where you get that really awesome Captain America picture. This is like from promo art, where you see Captain America like that. That's for Fantinuum, because I know he, ATN, you need more Yule. Oh, brother. So you got that really crazy picture. I do like the fact that someone put these things together so that you could see how it maybe should have looked. But Rob's not, crazy great. So there you go. It went for 12 issues, and I think there was a 13th issue so that the heroes could leave the universe, the pocket universe that was created for these characters, so that the Image guys could take over. They had to eventually come back to Marvel, and then they had Heroes I forget what it was called, Heroes Rebirth or whatever. So Marvel is going to revisit Heroes Reborn. And, like for Miles Morales on the Spider-Man book, they're revisiting the Clone Saga. Or what they're really doing is they're taking something from the past that people either really liked, really loved, or know of, and they're superimposing it on these new characters or stories of today so that they can get a little bit of a bump, hopefully. I don't think Heroes Reborn is really that bump, because the concept then was we suck and we're going to let other people take our stuff on so that it won't suck later, or that people will want to care about our stuff again so much that they'll put forth effort after they see these abominations that the Image guys did. And I got to admit, I was working at a comic store during that time, and I read the first few issues of the Image comics, and probably the one I liked the most was the Fantastic Four. But just like everybody knew, Rob Liefeld wasn't going to remain on the book. Jim Lee wasn't going to remain on the book. And ultimately, even the hack writers that they had with them, well, not Jeff Loeb. He's pretty hackish too. Were replaced at the end by Jeff Robbins or James Robinson. And James Robinson was just doing fill-in work so that this stuff could get done. Ron Lim was doing pencils. It's like, Ron Lim, he's not even an Image guy. And sales kind of stunk at the end. Now, you could go and listen to Robservations on wherever you get podcasts. And there's an episode where he actually talks about Heroes Reborn. And, it's obviously going to come from his point of view and what he remembers. But, it's definitely something you should check out if you want to know more about the inner workings about what was going on during that time. But Heroes Reborn wasn't that great. And coming back and doing, I love that cover. Let me cough really quick. Yeah, that Steve Lytle cover. I showed that the week he died, or the week after he died. That's a shame. He was a good artist. John Byrne's a great artist too, and he does the insides. Heroes Reborn wasn't that good, and Marvel coming back. Oh, look at that! Is that the first death? I think so. Maybe it's the second death. Actually, she might have been the one right before that. Marvel bringing back these old storylines, Clone Saga, like the real one, like Maximum Carnage, the Shrieking, that Clone Saga. Heroes Reborn, all that stuff is when I pretty much noped out of superhero comics for quite a while. And maybe over at DC I would read some, but I definitely was reading more Sandman, more Vertigo books, looking for independence or smaller press books like Drawn and Quarterly. I was reading a lot of autobiographical stuff, Joe Matt, Chester Brown, again, Drawn and Quarterly, Fantagraphics, Dan Clowes. Maybe even better than that for me was, like Milk and Cheese, anything Dorkin, Pirate Corps back in the day. You find out that like Michael Zulli does a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so you pick that one up because that's different. Anything that is different, not just like samey. It wasn't until after Heroes Reborn that I actually, when I moved up to the Bay Area and I worked at Comic Relief, I started caring about superhero comics again. Like, I'll check out X-Men again. I'll check out, Superman, what's going on. Jeff Loeb, people like him all of a sudden, that type of thing. And I started enjoying superhero comics again. There's not always the case. Sergio Aragones does. Oh, it's a joke on Blair Witch. Okay, very good. Yeah, I don't think the feels that they think that people have for these things are something that is going to make a lot of money. It just feels like, and DC feels like they're doing this a lot. It feels like a golden parachute. We're going to kill this goose that lays the golden eggs because we have nothing else. We are devoid of any true I mean, they obviously, when you have Batman Black and White, you have these fantastic illustrators doing stuff, and you have every once in a while a super solid talent that does really interesting things. But a lot of what we're getting right now is just something that's aping something that happened before. And in IP comics, that's probably going to happen more often than not. But it's the craft of telling a story which makes you not care about those type of things. And the way stories are written for comic books these days, there's very few mainstream comics that really resonate with people, like all people. A really good book like Daredevil doesn't sell very well, and that's usually probably the case. But it sure did seem like Chris Claremont's X-Men were good back in the day. I still think that those are probably better than most of the stuff that's going on, even though there's antiquated notions or styles of telling comic books that people don't do today. The new Teen Titans, even the rudimentary stuff of like Eastman and Laird, reading their stuff, at least it feels real. We're going to get into some books that are coming out. I mean, we've talked about some books that are coming out tomorrow. I was going to talk about some books that I read for like a review segment. So let me get those up. Let me see if I can find it. Let me do this for you. Let me play this commercial one last time.
What are you wearing, kid? Greenhorn? What are you, blind or something? If you're going to dress like every other curtain jerker here in Chattanooga, jerking the curtain off the wall and wearing it, this plan's never going to work. You need to dress more like the swing man with style, class.
Whoa, all right. First up, we have this comic called I Breathed a Body. This is pretty common right now. These long-ass titles that are stupid. I'm sick of them. Even this, when it's good, it's like, it's reminds me of this one. I Breathed a Body. We only find them when they're dead. Something is killing the children. I walk with monsters. My favorite thing is monsters. Even if these are great things, after a while, I'm sick of it. Like, it just feels like the same thing, even if they're not. And this is just another horror comic book. At first, I'm like, all right, this is something interesting. You got all this like narration going on. I don't know who's talking, so I'm going to forgive it for a moment. There's some transfusion going on, giving it a baby. There's this monster slaps this lady, and then it just goes into this scene where I don't know. It just started boring me. It just people talking and looking at computer screens and out office windows and I don't care about your shaved head. And it's like more of this. And it just, I'm done. I was out. But Crimson Flower was pretty interesting. Matt Kent usually doesn't let me down. And Matt, let me see how you say his name. Matt Lesniewski. He is a pretty interesting artist. He has a sort of radioactive black belt hamster style, kind of like that rudimentary style. I mean, you can see the figures, but it's different. It's not normal. It's something I want to look at, or maybe it's something I don't want to look at, but that's better than something that's like super like polished. Ugh. And so the deal here is that this lady she sells pharmaceuticals to doctors, at their practice, and she wants to get information from this guy, and I don't know this. She's willing to do it forcefully, and she wants to get this information on this patient. So she tracks this dude down. She gets him to open his door by saying, I'll give you like a year's worth of drugs for free. And then she starts kicking the shit out of him. And we find out that this guy is like a serial killer. There was back in the day when she was a kid, he came in and killed her father. And she was just sitting there watching as he left. Poor girl. And that's what this is about. This whole issue is basically her trying to track down this information. In the back of this book, there's another Matt Kent book that's coming out called Fear Case. I like the style. He's really good. He'll tell like all sorts of different stories. A spy, a little horror, a little, not really a lot of horror. So like that last issue that I just showed you is really, for the most part, all I've read that's like that. Yeah, so there you go. That's some comics that I read. I'll try and find a couple more for you in a sec. But yeah, there you go. Oh, look at this. So here's some beat up comics that our boy here has. Challengers of the Unknown, and oh wait. The thing about Big Bang comics is that they're always trying to duplicate that classic feel. Classic feel. All right, one last comic book, and then soon we'll call it an evening. All right. I have been really enjoying this book, X-Force. And this is X-Force number 16. And if you remember last issue, Beast is a real jerk. And he implanted something in he implanted something in Omega Red. that's so that they can track him when he goes to treat with the vampires. And here we have Black Tom Cassidy and Domino dealing with these undersea plant things that were taking over people. And this is what it looked like last issue when we left them off. So now they're already like pretty much finishing it off. And here's Beast and the Doctor. They're like checking out these things from under the sea. And I like how she's like, hey, you gotta concentrate on dealing with this rather than thinking about weaponizing it. And then we have our crew. We have Quentin. We have what's his name? And we have Wolverine and Forge. That's his name. And they're going to go down with fire guns that can shoot underwater, and they're going to go deal with those dudes. And Wolverine sinks down to the bottom faster. Last issue, these things took over this ship, and that's what these guys are going down to deal with. So Wolverine goes in, sees the dead body, goes a little deeper into this trench, and sees this eye. And then he gets jumped from behind. And then there he is. There's that eye. I like this art a lot. This guy's name is Joshua Cassara. And his stuff is fantastic. Everything goes all messed up. And then Namor. Because who else is going to come and deal with people invading their land? Under the sea. So there's Namor. And he wants to chase them off. So I'm not going to let you know what happens, but it's pretty sweet. Check out X-Force. I got a bunch of them. And if you come in the store, I would recommend it. All right, let me check comments really quick. I don't know what that was for, but exactly. Jesus. I know. So, what comics are you interested in? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in me checking something out and actually doing a real review on it, I don't know when those will really happen. I've got this one interview that I am working on. So check out YouTube. Hit the bell for notifications and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Because then you'll know when a new video comes up. Let me do this really quick. I want to thank all our patrons patrons to the show, to the store. You've really helped us out. We don't have near the customer retention right now than we were hoping for pre-pandemic. I'm in the process of putting out the call yet again for anybody that's still interested. I know there's a lot of change out there. I'm not talking about dollars and cents. So it's like tough, and I understand. But hey, man, Gavin Newsom's opening up California, so you're allowed to mingle again, right? I mean, we're not screwing up the rollout of the vaccines or anything like that. Not at all. Everybody's getting it like clockwork, just how it's supposed to be, like it always was going to be. But hey, man, California's opening up. You can go, and I assume the Dead Guardians just didn't do it for me. It just wasn't my favorite. Yeah, man, you can come in a comic store. We're still a small store, and we were only ever going to be able to have 1, 2, or 3 people in at any one time, probably. But, you got to cut all that down by X amount % in a store. So please remember to wear your mask wherever you go. I mean, it's common sense, right? They're talking about wearing 2 or 3 of them now. Yeah, amen. And you know what? I'm going to have a protective wall. Greek Street is another one. It just wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be. What was that? Peter Milligan. But his Hellblazer stuff was good. I like that a lot. Yeah, Peter Milligan. I wanted to like Greek Street a lot more than it was. Just wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be. But yeah, there you go. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Yeah, 1985. What if what? I don't remember what that was. All right, I'm just jabbering now. So, oh wait, let's see. All right, so let's go really back for a second. Flash Ray says $1,000 a page rate for Bendis. So if that's true for a writer, I mean, a 20, I would want to write a. No wonder he's putting all the words in. How's that? It's gotta make it worth their while. That's so, and he was doing, all right. He wasn't just doing Action and Monthly. He was doing Superman Monthly. He wasn't doing just Superman Monthly. He had Pearl coming out for Jinx Studios, and he probably made more money off of that, probably. There was another one, the United States of Murder, I think it was called. He also was doing, it was like Alias, but it wasn't. I can't remember what it was called, but it was another, chick with a gun type thing. He was also doing the Wonder imprint, and he was involved in Young Justice being written. Oh, man, he was making a fortune off those comic books. And anybody coming in with him, Kelly Sue DeConnick on Aquaman, which, you got to be honest. Like, when you're putting Kelly Sue DeConnick on Aquaman, nobody that's reading Aquaman right now is going to give a shit that Kelly Sue's on it. And any fan of Kelly Sue is probably not going to give a shit about Aquaman. So it's like, it's saying, hey, those of you, I mean, it is regardless if Kelly Sue writes the greatest Aquaman ever, or whether people like her, it's just, this isn't something that's going to mix. Bendis wanted to write this 2-issue Thorn and Rose story that leads into Legion of Superheroes. He should have had her do that. That would have been better, maybe. Also, I just don't think Kelly Sue DeConnick really works for most of the DC characters. G. Willow Wilson coming over from Marvel, I mean, she's already worked at DC before anyway, and I don't know, maybe her a little bit more makes sense, but I don't know if he was responsible for that. But Matt Fraction on the Jimmy Olsen, it was a little tongue-in-cheek series that seemed on the money, but I'm sure that didn't sell crazy well, and it was also during the pandemic, and Diamond was shipping some of it, and then eventually Lunar for us was shipping the end of it. We didn't get all our issues, and there's a void in certain people. Certain people are going to have gaps in their comic collections. There was a dead zone during this the pandemic in April, May, June, July. It wasn't just comics not coming out, but when they finally did, a lot of people didn't know about them. Not all the stores actually got those sent to them also. Join the comic church. I agree. Always join the comics church. I forgot. I was bitching about Legion of Superheroes 2. Holy cow. That's how Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange powers. I feel like, that would be the Heroes Reborn. Is that what they're doing with Captain Marvel? Oh my God. And then DC in March. So this will be like the last thing we talk about. DC in March is coming out with their Infinite Frontier. And Infinite Frontier, it's some of the characters from Future State, like this Flash character that was in Suicide Squad that comes out today. She's in this. And then we have this Red X character, I think his name is, from the Titans cartoon. But what everybody is really hot about, and I don't know if I should really say everybody, there's a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people are happy about it, but again, we'll see what sales happen with it. But over here on the right hand side, you've got a lot of members that would make up the Justice Society of America, and that's interesting. Because, you know, there's a lot of fans of the Justice Society. There's a lot of fans of the Legion of Superheroes. But again, when you look at sales, it doesn't usually equate. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to at least wanting to read Superman again. The guy who does Last God, I think he's Paul Kennedy Johnson, something like that. He's also writing Alien for Marvel soon. He's going to be doing the Superman books. Jeffrey Thorne, the guy who's writing the Green Lantern book for Future State, I think is going to be doing Green Lantern going forward, which is going to be John Stewart. So that's cool. You know, there's going to be Titans Academy. Don't really think that's going to be so great, but as long as they're trying with Titans, I'll be happy. And of course, they're going to bring Harley Quinn back. Woo! Everybody wants that, right? But at least they're trying to rehabilitate her character so that she isn't just the Joker's babe that is acting nice for once or something like that. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to March. I mean, it kind of feels like it's again talking about that golden parachute. I hope that DC, it's not just they're trying to squeeze out this last buck, but actually, you know, put something forward concrete that's going to be there in the future, so that I, as a comic store owner, have something to order. Also something to, like, you know, care about, because if nothing's coming out, and ultimately it's when it's coming out from the big two, because Saga hasn't been coming out for like 2 years, and you can't control something like that, because when the creators own their own stuff, it's got, you know, it's got to come out when it's going to come out. But when it's these the big two, when they got to get their stuff out, they gotta get it out. I mean, it's only a few things where they can, like, let a lot of delays happen. And I know this is pretty small, but, you know, here you can see Batman is continuing their numbering from where they left off pre-Future State. Swamp Thing, which supposedly was a 10-issue miniseries, everybody liked the Future State so much that it looks like it's going to keep going on. There's going to be a conclusion of some series that have been a long time in coming. And on my birthday, you'll see Action Comics 1029 come out. Yeah, that'll be great. Looking forward to that. Yeah, so that's DC in the future. That's Fantastic Comics in the future concerning DC. Let me know if you're interested in Heroes Reborn in the comments down below. Let me know what comics you are interested in, because I'm interested in, you know, you don't have to be a customer of my store. I like talking about different things and reading different things. I'm going to check out We Live from, I think it's a Vault comic. I've heard that's really good. I read the first issue of, this is another one of those long ass titles. It was a Ram V comic called These Savage Shores. These Savage Shores. And I ordered the second issue of that because I thought the first issue was pretty interesting. It took me a long time to get through it. Not actually getting through it, but to get to it, to read through it. But that was pretty cool. So I'm totally down for checking out new books, different styles. I'm not the biggest horror fan, but I'll definitely check out an issue of a horror book. It just seems like so many things out there are that way. You know, Boom and Vault and Aftershock, and even Oni has one. I'm sure. But having said that, I'm really looking forward to Ed Pisker's Red Room. If you are not a patron of his, I mean, if you are, for $3 a month, you can get his Red Room. He has a new page come out every Tuesday, usually like 3 times a month. So, but it's going to be coming out through Fantagraphics, so I'm really excited about that. A monthly comic book from Fantagraphics. We really need more things that have, I don't know, like a different aesthetic. I think this is it. I like his style a lot. Although I got in a conversation with a customer who was like, I think he's kind of full of himself, and I might be misconstruing what that person said. Like he likes it, but he also thinks that he's, yeah, he's maybe a little too try hard. Oh no, that's an excellent issue of Action Comics. Just before John Byrne came on to do Action and Superman, he renumbered Superman. They ended with Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which was a 2-part story drawn by Kurt Swan and written by Alan Moore. We do have the hardcover collection of that, and I do recommend anybody read that. Pick it up from my store and then read it, or get it from wherever and read it, because Alan Moore, when he's doing superhero stories, those are some of his best books, actually. Even though, there's V for Vendetta and Watchmen is superhero, but I mean, mainstream big 2 superheroes. That's where he shines. There's other things that he's done that are reminiscent. He did for Image Comics, he did 1963, where he did different versions of Marvel books. Check out Cartoonist Kayfabe. I already showed the trailer. Or here, that's Ed Pisker again, right there. Cartoonist Kayfabe. Check that out. They talk about the 1963 comics and all sorts of stuff that I probably should have got to before them, but I'm way too lazy. And that's a fault of mine. I'll freely admit it. Good night, Christine. Yeah, see you tomorrow, and I'll see all of you all next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Since we didn't get taken off the air, I think this is safe to stay up. So, like I said, let me know in the comments down below what you're interested in. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.